talk about. We're not going to talk about that. To get us started off here, if nobody has any questions, you have a few things to talk about. Alright, so this is something I wanted to cover last time, but I wanted to go over every single quote-unquote free quick warp that is in this run, of which there are 12 or so if you count like all 4 that you do at the blacksmith, which adds up to like almost 7 seconds that you're saving, because each quick warp that you get is 34 frames, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh. That adds up to a lot of free time that you can be saving, and I see so many players just, I mean, they're just unaware that there's a free way to get the quick warp. They see the word quick warp and they're like, oh, that must be so complicated. I see these people like trying to do these crazy setups and they're having to menu buffer to try to hit certain spots, but a lot of them are just free if you walk in from if you walk into the warp from one direction or the other. Quick warps work because of the way the camera is positioned when you actually do warp. So it doesn't actually have anything to do with Link's particular pixel coordinate. It more has to do with the camera position itself. So the first one that you run into in the any percent NMG run is up here on Death Mountain. And just one quick thing about this, something you can do while you have the old man here, just kind of as a safety, is flash your sword while you're walking down. I'm pretty sure you don't walk any slower with your sword held out while you're walking with the old man anyway. So it's a good idea to just keep your sword held out, and that's a good way of dealing with this squirt. Gets in your way. But let's get up to the top of Death Mountain here, and I'll show you where this free quick warp is. Nice, dude. I got hit by the boulder and it canceled my spin. Feels so good.
I was gonna say, I wonder if Death Mountain will be nice to you since you're not doing an actual run.
Yeah. Alright, so what I like to do here, something that I actually started doing recently, let me make a save state. Coming out of like right here, you're basically just, you're still holding straight right, but at a certain point, pretty much right when you see the warp get on screen, you start holding upright. So you want to go through this area here, and then you're just going to keep holding upright until you get to the direct right of the warp. So you're pretty much in line with it. And what you're going to do is, you can do one of two things. You can pause here and change to the Mire if you want. That's the next item you need anyway. Or you can save that menu to the Mire for after the warp. But this free quick warp is, all you have to do is just walk in from the right. So as long as you go past it like this, and what I do is I just I hit A, stop my movement, and it also will cancel your glitch state, so you can just walk left into the warp from there. So that is the first free quick warp that you run into. So the way that you do that, the Helpsor King has the definition of that there, but basically it just involves hitting A on the frame after you release your sword charge. And so that puts you in a glitch state where you can't actually slash your sword, like I'm pressing B right now and I can't slash. But if you touch these manual stairs and come off of them cardinally, you'll be moving at dash speed. So that is free quick warp number 1. And the nice thing about saving your buffer, this quick warp right here is not free, but it's good to have this menu buffer to Mire right here. But you can also just use it right here if you want. Change to Mire and just walk into the left. Okay, so that's number 1. Next one, in Thieves Town. So after you get the flute, You know, maybe you've just come back from getting powder or whatever, but now you're gonna go to Thieves Town, so you're coming up here. The Apple Bapple screen here. Yo, Sabin. Yeah, that is a good point, Sabin. Sometimes because of your movement pattern, since you're moving at 4 pixels per frame, you won't actually get that quick warp. So it is a pretty good idea to cancel with A before you walk into the warp. Okay. So this free quick warp brought to you by the Beach Boys. For this particular one,
get around.
You just have to walk in from the left for this. So after you hammer dash down through here, pick this rock up from the top. What I do usually is just do like a little diagonal and then go into it from there. That gets you another free 34 frames. That's number 2. The next one most people already do naturally. Brought to you in part by Greenham Farm. Next one is as you're actually getting Tempered Sword. And I think most people probably do this, like I said, naturally anyway, but just in case. So, you're getting the frog, blah blah blah. Come up here. This is where I use the buffered mirror. Dash to the rock. Alright, so you're on these stairs. Just don't move left or right after coming off these stairs. And like I said, I think most people do this anyway, but just in case. And this puts you on a good spot for the quick warp. I guess I should turn the indicator on and point out the fact that in the practice hack, you can turn on a quick warp indicator. Will tell you whether you're standing or whether the camera is in a good spot for the quick warp. Yeah, you end up going through the warp here like 4 times, pretty sure, so it's like 2 seconds right there. Just make sure you're not moving out of the doorway or the stairs as you're doing these warps. Cool, cool? Yeah. Next one is after you finish Skullwoods. This one is easy. Just don't move. Don't move out of the exit. That's all you have to do. So just if you're already on Mire, or if you finish the fight with Fire Rod, just change to Mire and spam it. You get a free quick warp. Okay, the next one after that is Ice Palace. Oh, I need before this actually. Screen.
Tiny warp day.
Yeah.
You got to be there. Okay, so this one, you want to walk into this warp from the left. So pick up this rock. Usually I just hold up left pretty much after picking up and throwing the rock, and then just walk into it from the left. Yep, I'll get to that one, Ozzy. That is definitely on the list, because that one is free as well, with a particular setup.
Free-ish, we'll say.
Free-ish, yeah.
Because you can screw
There
up,
are some
but...
issues, yeah, you need to be aware of.
Yeah. So the next one after this is after you beat Kholdstare, and you are now outside of ice. Again, this is just like Skullwoods. Don't move out of the doorway here. Because you can see the indicator in the top left there, already have a quick warp, so just spam Y and you're good to go. Yeah, let's show quick actually. Alright, so you jump off here, grab this guy, you throw it in, and so what you're going to do After you throw it in, you're going to start a dash, and you're going to bonk off this wall here. But you need to make sure that you are not too high when you start this dash. Like you don't want to be up here when you throw this rock in. Like, it looks like you're nice and centered, like on the rocks and everything, and like the water comes out to a point here, so it just feels natural. But don't do that, because you're going to have a bad time. But I will show you what to do if you do that. So, generally you want to be like around here-ish when you throw. And to get the free quick warp, quote-unquote free, throw it in, start your dash, bonk, and interrupting this cutscene while you're in this bonk is what actually gives you the camera position for the quick warp. So just move straight up after you land from the bonk to catch the medallion, and then don't move from this spot. Just don't move left or right. You move up and down all you want, that's fine, but don't move left or right.
I also think you can mess it up by, like, if you throw the rock, then face right, then start your dash. Like, you want to throw the rock and immediately start charging, and then just, like, turn right during your charge.
That's something I didn't know. But yeah, you're basically you're hitting A, waiting a little bit, hitting A again to start your dash, and then turning around to face right. Yeah, it's camera position. It doesn't have to do anything with the direction that Link is facing.
Yeah, it's like a bug in the code involving the actual warp animation and the camera scroll position.
Alright, so let's say you do, like, throw this in really high, and then you dash over here. Just bite it. Sometimes this is fixable, sometimes it's not. Like here, I don't think I can fix this.
Yeah, this is what happens when you dash in high. It's bad time.
What you want to do is mirror. Right, and then just go back into it from the bottom. I guess, or does that work? Or do you have to, like, re-flute? Probably have to re-flute, don't you? Or just transition.
What you could do also is just go get the flippers. And then when you get back to the screen,
yeah, because you have to.
The
way you
warp will be there, and you'll have flippers, so you can actually swim. So you can get either afterwards.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I had no idea, actually. No shit.
You know.
I'm glad you're here. I actually was gonna try to wing it, and that wasn't gonna work out. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good idea. Go get the flippers, and then when you come back, you'll be able to swim afterwards. Good call. But yeah, really, just don't mess up this. Yeah. Okay, next quick warp. Only 2 more, I think, so. Yeah, the quick warp, it saves you 34 frames during, like, the Mire animation. Alright, so the next one you want to do is in the... not here. Link's house. Oh, this is it. I don't know how to get this off in the light world.
Picking up the bush is slower, yes, but it's nice if you need a heart, because that bush can drop a heart.
Okay, so this quick warp. What you want to do is obviously you hammer this peg. It's actually a really good idea to try to kill this guy when you have beams. You can just beam him from here. But you want to actually walk really low along this statue, like be down as far as you can basically when you're walking over here. Because what that's going to allow you to do is pick this rock up, and then you need to actually walk in from the left for this quick warp. But since you're so low here, you can actually walk below the warp. If you're too high here, you'll just walk into the warp from the right, which won't give you the quick warp. But yeah, you kind of need to, like, go at it like that. It's another one. Killing that guy in the previous screen actually saves you quite good chunk of lag frames. Screen. It's kind of cool. Wait, last one? Oh yeah, it's just after Mire. And this is just like Skull and Ice afterwards. Just don't move out of this. And you get the quick warp. Those are all the free ones. There's a bunch of other easier ones, and I encourage you to look at all those screenshots, because some of them, especially the one like right before Mire, is really easy. Like, you just want to kind of center link on the warp itself. Same thing with Turtle Rock. Same thing with Death Mountain the second time. That's kind of an interesting thing about going up Death Mountain the second time. You don't get the same free quick warp as you do your first time going up there, because of the camera position being different. Because the first time you go up, you're coming out of the cave with the old man, but the second time you're fluting there, landing in a different spot. So the camera is slightly different. So the second time you go up, you want to be centered on the warp when you go in. Okay, so did we miss any questions? That was just like one thing I kind of wanted to cover before we did anything in particular. So yeah, hit us up with any questions you got whatsoever. Otherwise, I'll find some other stuff to talk about.
The time you spend going to the swamp warp is not overcome by how much the quick warp itself saves. That's a question I saw.
But something you can do is you can still approach it from the bottom. You don't have to like necessarily walk in directly from the left. The only thing is that sometimes you can not shift the camera and you won't get the quick warp. So it's just a little bit trickier, but it can be a little bit faster. Like right here, I've shifted the camera far enough to where I can just walk straight up, get the quick warp. But just to be like kind of safe, I don't want to walk into it like that.
The Turtle Rock quick warp is actually very difficult. I'd say it's probably one of the most difficult ones in the run, so it's not something I would worry about for a long time.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think this maybe the swamp one's maybe only slightly more difficult. But the TRock one sucks because you're moving normally.
Yeah, you have super speed, and the tile, like, you can't walk from the left or right. It has to be centered on the tile, and so it's quite difficult to do while super speed.
Sounds like everyone in the world answered the text box questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should also note if there's only one text box, then you can advance with Eleanor as well. I mean, that's probably obvious, but it's not just the last one, it's if there's only one
It
text
includes,
box,
it's
too.
basically the end of any quote-unquote conversation that you're having. So, like, a good example is when you're talking to Saha, like, at the end there, I think there's two, like, there's the one conversation that's longer, and then at the end there's two separate conversations that you can both cancel with just Eleanor.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the game will switch, like, who's talking to you or what's talking to you or whatever, and in that instance, it, like, switches between Sahasrahla and the text for you getting the boots. So you end up being able to cancel, like, 2 consecutive ones without just Eleanor. And X, actually, because X works in Sahasrahla's hut.
But not everywhere, so be careful.
Yeah, but not everywhere, so be very careful.
Yeah.
X. X works indoors if you're indoors, but on the overworld.
Like,
X.
if you're getting the old man, it'll work.
Yeah, if you're getting the old man, if you're tempering your sword.
Old man inside the cave, I should say, not.
Yeah.
He's not when you're dropping him off, but inside the cave.
Anywhere where the map doesn't open. The library is another good one.
Mm-hmm.
When you're getting the book.
Anyway, blind fight, refight.
Yeah, we can do that. Since Sounds like Dode passed on a question from Space Cats. We did go over this last time, but it's still a good one for people to see. The blind fight itself, it's a scripted fight. Of course. And, EG. Whee.
Oh, good.
I think this will work. Yeah.
Should just be able to load the preset and it'll be fixed.
Alright, so the first thing that I do is getting myself to this position, and then during this text box, I actually let go of B. Because one of the main issues that I see new players, or just actually every level of player have, is releasing spins during these pokes on blind. And that's caused by just not holding B long enough after you've actually poked. So that is one reason that I just choose to release this spin, just to ensure that when I charge up my sword for this next poke, I'm not going to have enough time to actually get my sword charged fully to release a spin. So there's phase 1. I think everyone understands that pretty well. Phase 2, what I do is stand right here at the very top of the wall, my sword held out. And then what I'm gonna do when the head gets up to me, I'm just gonna do a quick down up to dodge it, and then move left into blind to poke him. So there's the first hit. Make sure you're holding down B quite a long time. You definitely don't want to release a spin. And that's a very common spot for a spin to be released. So that's that first hit. I'll show you the next two. That's what I do. So for phase 3 here, at the start of it, I move to the top left of the light, and then once the heads actually shoot one of the fireballs that's going to track Link, which are the first and fourth ones that they shoot, you want to move to the top right of the light here, and then about when the heads are going to come together here, you want to start a dash to your left and bonk off the wall. This is just a really good setup to ensure that all you have to do is just walk right with your sword held out, and you'll be in perfect spot for the third phase to finish them. I actually didn't start my dash soon enough there because it's hard to do this like with pauses in between.
Yeah.
Alright, and I started my dash too soon there. After that first hit, you want to walk straight left, and then you want to walk up to the wall at this point, and then slash down to hit him for the second time. And then for the third one, if you have sword beams, you can actually kill him a little bit faster. But normally you're just gonna like slash him or poke him again.
Yeah, for the pokes in the second phase, you want to like, for the second poke especially is commonly missed, because players kind of walk too low. You kind of want to let blind does this oscillating movement, and he like comes kind of high when he moves to the right, and you just want to let him move into your sword tip. You don't want to like chase him down, because a lot of the times you'll just miss if you like come down very far at all. You see Greenham's position here. He's like almost like has his back to the wall here, and the poke is working. So that's the main mistake I see from newer players when they're doing the second phase.
Yeah, You can definitely let blind do a lot of the work here. Basically, you're just trying to be in the right spot at the right time. That was really late. Third poke on the second phase.
Yeah, you want to stay above blind. You don't want to go below him, otherwise that'll get pretty difficult. So, while you're poking him, or her, whatever, stay at the top of the room.
We don't assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the fight doesn't go well. I'm going to... So normally you would be starting with 5 hearts, actually.
Is it 5 or 4?
5.
Oh.
And you'll have 8 if you have sync heart. So if you have powder, you're gonna want to have for the blind refight. You want to have sword beams. So there are a few ways to accomplish that. If you have powder, just go to the top left of this first room here and powder this bunny beam, and you'll have full hearts. Yeah, you'll have 3 missing hearts. So, and then you would just go and finish as you normally would. Now, if you don't have powder, you're gonna want to pick up.
Sorry. One thing, did you say that you could powder it without picking up the pot? Just so people
Oh no
know?
no! I'm sorry, I didn't actually mention
okay.
that. No. Yeah,
just so you don't get bunny
point.
beamed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, you don't have to pick up the pot at all. I don't know why I felt the need to prove the point that there was a bunny beam under there, but it exists, I promise. Alright, so if you don't have powder, and you just want to pick up heart pots, there are 3 on the way. The first one is down here. Jump to the top here. Careful about these guys. Nice bonk. I'm going the wrong way anyway. So the second heart pot is top right here. And you go this way. And then the very last one, I think everyone knows this one, outside of blind room itself. So now you have sword beams, and this is what you want for the refight. So for the refight, the first 3 hits you don't even have to move from this position. And my general strat here is to just kind of stay along the bottom and just move left and right to dodge the fireballs and just shoot beams up at them.
I'll also say that coming into this refight without sword beams is absolute hell.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it.
You may think like, oh man, grabbing all those hearts is so slow, I don't want to do that, it's going to cost me so much time. Well, dying to blind again and again and again and again can cost you far more time. Oh, I would absolutely go get those hearts. There's no way I would refight them without beams in a race.
Yeah, I
How
would
you doing
definitely.
that? Yeah, that's not even a very good example of a beam fight, but it's just it's so easy to finish off. Like, even if you get hit during one of these phases or something, it's really not that bad to finish off because you have 8 hearts still, so you can get hit 4 times by the heads themselves. I think it's really not that bad to just move left and right and dodge everything.
And for anyone who may be wondering, the reason it's so much harder, or the refight is so much harder, is because you cannot get behind him to start the fight. So he's going to be doing his movement higher, so you can't ever get behind him. You have to hit him from the sides. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's blind / blind refight. Did we miss any questions? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Right on. You're welcome.
I don't know, is there anything in like Ganon's Tower or like Turtle Rock? Those are usually like the harder segments. I don't know if there's anything easy to talk about.
I did have a few things for that. One thing with GT Mimics 1, okay. We can do that. First thing I'm gonna do is link you to this clip, though. GT Roller Room?
I think he meant Turtle Rock Roller Room, probably. I'm gonna assume, because I don't think, are there rollers in GT?
Words. Alright, so let's start with Mimics 1 and then we'll do TRock Rollers. So that clip that I linked right there is a very good strat that I would recommend to pretty much every skill level.
I still do that one. So
Same.
It's easy and consistent. And not that much slower, so.
I won't. I'll just show this strat a few times, I guess. And then go over a few of the finer points of it. You can get really good times with this. I think my best time is 7 flat, maybe?
Yeah.
Pretty sure
I've
sub
been able
7
to.
is possible.
Probably. The one thing I want to note about this as well, when you go down the first time and you slash your sword, you want to let go of it before you start arrowing the first mimic, because you don't want to charge your sword up and then end up spinning, because then you'll hit the other mimic and it'll be kind of slow, you'll get some lag. So you want to actually like slash twice for these guys, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Like right when I get there and fire my arrow is right when I release B.
Yeah, and then
if you see that you're a little short of the mimic, something you can do is that, I mean, obviously you can manipulate these guys a lot of different ways, but one way is actually during item animations and such. That's like how the slash strat works, but you can also do it like during bow animations. So if I were to fire an arrow right now and just kind of tap left, you'll walk into it. Anyway, yeah, this strat is just, it's so good. Really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's Joe D'Amelio approved, so.
Yeah. Lots of decent runners do it. Yeah, I find it just way easier and more consistent than the free slash. Shoots the wall, yeah. So yeah, Fricker, hopefully that helps for Mimics 1. Just watch that clip again and again if you need to. Hey, what is this? What's going on? What's up, dudes? Alright, so Turtle Rock, Roller Room. Okay. Yeah, there's really no, I don't think there's any point in going over a quote-unquote easy strat for this, other than, like, I can show you the hook shot one vulnerability strat to get out of it, but I'll try to explain the first part of it, which is pretty much the most important part of the room anyway. So this room is kind of on a timer, and you're going to kind of adjust what you're doing based on how good your first dash here is, and where you cancel it, and where you end up hookshotting to the right. That's the first thing you want to do. Do you guys have like a good visual cue for like where you cancel this first dash?
Like almost when Link's sword tip touches the roller is what I use.
Mm-hmm. Same.
That's a good one. I think I was always like looking at the tiles.
Yeah, I tried that, but I found it's like too hard with the room moving.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't. But
Apparently Thieves uses the row tiles. The row tiles, sword touching the roller, you know, find some sort of cue so that you know when to stop this dash. I think in general it's probably better to cancel it slightly early as opposed to late, because
yeah,
potentially you'll get hit if you do it too.
Yeah.
'Cause you
Yeah,
tank the roller.
that's Saban has just said something I was about to say. You want to make sure you like right, then wait like a split second, then Y. Like if you try to hit them at the same time or too close to the same time, even you will hook shot upwards, and that's no fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. Alright. So after you get past this guy, we get past him. Alright, so you're gonna kind of need to read the second roller here. You're always going to be moving up, at least. But where you start your next dash is gonna kind of depend on where this second roller is. So I'll just try to do a few examples and see the difference. Sometimes you can just dash straight up. Sometimes you have to move a little bit to the right before you start your dash. But at no point do you want to just stop moving, correct?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good rule, I guess.
Yeah.
That was a really early one. So I know that the second roller is going to be probably farther along when I get up there, so I can start my dash earlier. But if you try to go too soon past this roller, if you try to dash too early, you're gonna end up running into it.
I think hooking the skull can actually be slower or more difficult, I guess, to get up there in time.
It's totally an option. I think, doesn't Blunt still do it, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't think
I know
it's...
it was easier for me
I
to
don't
get
like
this. Yeah, it was easier for me to get this strat down without hooking the pod. Like, as soon as I stopped hooking the pod, it was like,
The thing
I got
about
it every time.
The thing about hooking is that it locks Link in place before it actually lands, so Link is just sitting there doing nothing. Like, yeah, you're getting the increased movement speed from the hook pulling you there, but the fact that he has to stand still for a little while, I don't think makes it
One of
any
the one of the negative things about trying to hook to the pot is if you accidentally press Y too early, your hook shot's going to glance off that railing.
Yeah.
And that's room over. That is...
sense.
Well,
have
for
to
me it
clear
is
out.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you're screwed at that point. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can't afford to lose that much time.
Yeah.
I think some people do it just more out of like they feel safer hooking to something as opposed to trying to walk really well around this railing and get past the roller, but in the long run it's going to be better for you.
Yeah. This room just takes a lot of practice too, and you know, your movement has to be pretty good in this room in order to get up there on time to
Yeah.
get the dash out. But there is another, I guess, slightly slower way to dash out as well, like if the roller's too far over to the right,
Yeah.
if you want to show that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna show. So obviously, the easiest way out of this room is to just mirror. And the Mire is absolutely your slowest option. Even the hookshot and vulnerability strat, which I'll show next, is faster by like, I want to say a second or two.
Although I will say the nice thing about mirroring is you get the full magic refill.
True, and you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about getting a drop from a Poke later on or something.
You don't have to worry about your magic management too much. So if you wanted to fire rot the Pokies throughout the dungeon, that's probably your best option.
When you leave this room, though, the 2 pots at the bottom do have
there's
heart and magic in it if you really needed it.
Also true.
Or if you really wanted it. So I mean, it's not like it is slower to grab those, but it's not like totally completely out of your way.
Okay, so the easy strat to get out of here, if you want to actually go out of this room, that I did for a really long time, totally legitimate, is just using your hookshot to get iframes as you're walking out. For this first roller here, you want to hook left, walk down, and you hook up, dash out. That is a very good option. It's really not that bad in terms of time.
I looked at your room time and was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
While you were like sitting there for a while.
Another thing it can be good for is like if you open this chest like just way too late, like the only way you're gonna get out of this room is by using the hookshot pretty much, or waiting for another cycle. Like if you are doing the deboost iframe strat out, that can be a good backup to do. Oh nice. Too early.
Yeah.
This room is tough. It takes a lot of practice. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth going over the deboost iframe strat, but if anyone wants to see it, I can try to explain it.
Pretty tight, I think. For I don't know.
I mean,
people are not super comfortable with their movement.
The main thing, like if you are doing this strat, is you want to look at the roller position here when you open the chest, and that will tell you how you have to finish the room. Like right here, it's pretty far right, like it's almost touching the top railing here. So that means I'm gonna have to move a little bit farther to the left before I take a hit from it and try to dash out. If it's like way farther to the left, you can pretty much take a hit right in the middle and dash out. Don't save and quit.
Another thing, like if it can be kind of tight to start your dash immediately after getting hit. So you can play it safer and walk down more after taking damage before starting your dash.
Yeah.
You can.
That's actually usually how we do this room all the time.
Well, you just take the hit and walk through the second roller and then dash out, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to walk down a little bit far too, otherwise, because if you start your dash, you'll get hit by the roller. Or start your dash too early, you'll get hit by the roller.
Yeah, that's totally viable.
And
that's still a few seconds faster than the other stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, that's that. Any more questions on TRock Roller? Start second. Yeah. If you started too early, you're gonna just run right into the second one.
Yeah, it's not much slower at all, Dode, which is nice. And it's, I don't know.
It's definitely easier because
but it's easier, yeah.
There are so many ways that you can screw up trying to start your dash, because, yeah, there's a little delay, like, in between getting hit and when you can actually start your dash again, so it can be kind of tough to time that. Spin speed with hook shots on DM? You're gonna have to be a little more specific, EA.
Hook dashing, probably, unless he means the Sword climb.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Sword climbing is fun.
It's fun.
The main thing to know about sword climbing is that it actually doesn't save a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
For newer players, I definitely think, obviously a lot of them will watch like World Record and other top players and sort of copy the route from there. But for newer players, a lot of times I recommend they get Ether during the swamp segment because you're not saving much time with sword climbs. I can guarantee you.
Yeah. And then you have full hearts for Mire. So that's the nice thing about it.
You don't have to deal with Death Mountain and Mire combined.
Oh, here's something else. You're going upstairs with spin speed. Yeah, pumping.
Pumping L and R like.
You mean actually the D-pad?
Left and right.
Left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You always want to pump, and that's the other thing about sword climbing. In order for it to even save a good chunk of time, you also have to be double pumping pretty well while you're getting it. And climbing. Trinexx.
There was a question. Oh, sorry. There was a question about the hook dash after Hurdle Rock.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's just the same as every other.
Yeah. Just make sure you come off the stairs.
Unless you mean like the movement after it or something.
Trinexx.
Alright, so safe and easy version is front door. What I like to do is I save my no matter what version of the fight I'm doing, I save my buffer to ice rod here. Basically walk to like the bottom left of his toe right here, and then wait for the firehead to come out. 2, 3, 2. Well, haven't done this in so long. Wow, I really have not done this.
Yeah, you gotta switch to the ice rod before his head starts blowing up. Otherwise, you won't be able to menu.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So after you freeze him the second time, switch over to fire rod. Hit him 2 more times. Completely whiff the ice head. Make sure you take damage from the main head of Trinexx as well. That's really good. And then you run out of magic. And that's how you do the Trinexx fight.
Yeah.
Wow, we got a good teacher for the Trinexx fight here.
Yeah. You have to mirror out and go find magic and do the whole dungeon all over again.
One of the issues with front door, by the way, is you can't completely guarantee that
yeah, that you
the
beat
ice
the
head
ice over
doesn't-
there.
Yeah, that the ice
Yeah,
head
if you have butter sword, then really no big deal at all.
I still do front door Trinexx as well. I think back door is like too hard. Like getting hit by stuff is just too easy, I feel like. Like the spikes, definitely, but or the toe. Or shooting the wrong way. But yeah, you don't want to be like a pinball back there.
Alright, so for this second part, I try to put, sucks that you can't pause the game, but I try to put Link's hat like right below the explosion. Like the very bottom of the explosions is where I like try to put Link's hat, and then right when the shell disappears is when you want to release your spin.
Yeah, and then I think most of us anyway buffer to the hook shot here, so that you can do the hook dash after Turtle Rock, because it's much better to do it that way than like switching afterwards, than switching after Turtle Rock, if you're gonna do that hook dash.
Which you should do that. A hook dash, it saves like a deceptively large amount of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, release the spin right when the shell disappears. Yeah, this is when I buffered a hook shot because it allows you to also kind of listen or see if you actually got the double hit on him with the spin. And then that will determine like what you're gonna do after this point. The safest thing to do here, I feel, I mean it kind of depends where his position is, but after you release that double spin, you want to hold straight up. Like you'll see a lot of top players just sit here, just slash right at him. But the safest thing to do is just walk up, be holding up out of that spin so that you make sure you clear him.
Oh yeah, I guess the positioning of where you stand when he's blowing up is important to get the double hit.
Yeah.
Because, like, things that can happen is you can spin and not go anywhere, or you spin and go too far away. Which, I think, if you spin and you don't go very far, you're too close. Or, like, too far, I guess, in the center. And if you bounce away, then you're too far to the left.
I heard something about, I don't know if it's just placebo or what, but if you hold down left, like out of your spin, you'll get boosted back farther or something, and it gives you more room to slash. But I don't know if that's actually true.
I don't know.
Knowing if Josh isn't checking.
I don't do it, so... I mean, the thing about the spin, you just want to stand, like, slightly to the left, and with the, like, explosion coming down, sort of like on top of Link's head, almost.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just
how I land it.
trying to show a few times.
And the shell disappearing is such a good cue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I can go over a few backdoor things. There are people out there that are doing that. Good strat.
And how much faster is backdoor? Not very.
That's a good question. I don't actually know.
I think, well, Josh tried to explain this to me once. I think it's like, isn't it like 10 frames or something if you get like a good front door strat or front door fight?
No, I don't think it, like...
It was like less than a second. Like it was not very significant.
Yeah, it depends on like how he moves.
Right.
Or,
But I was saying like versus like a good front door fight versus like a good backdoor fight.
See, with front door, it's like really rare to get it to where he cycles and then doesn't move. Like, it's rare to be able to do it that fast. And that's part of the issue, as well as getting ice on the floor. It's like variable.
I feel like backdoor gives you a better chance at having a good fight, simply because you can get to the ice head faster.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I would say if, like, the best front door and the best back door, there's not much difference.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the point in the floor that I kind of look for to start my dash. Right here. Part of the wall. And this is where I save my buffer to Ice Rod. Basically when I'm in line with this row of spikes right here, where I try to pause and then cancel my dash straight right. Alright, so one thing over here, something I see quite a bit, is if you do hit this guy from behind, don't slash him from behind. Because all that's going to do is just knock you directly back into the spikes. You're going to have a bad time.
And the spikes will knock you into his head, and then he'll knock you back into the spikes. It'll be a pinball.
So once you do hit him from above, what you want to do is dash down through him and then start slashing from the right. But if you don't get that, just go to the right of him anyway.
Firehead first because he moves first, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's the first to become vulnerable.
And east. Too bad.
When I ran low percent, I actually would kill the ice head first, just to avoid a bunch of ice on the floor. So I would wait for it, but that's a whole different ball game. The problem I always had with backdoor was my first shot would shoot to the right instead of down.
Oh, I did that.
I could never avoid that. Yeah. So I just stopped doing it.
Yeah, that happens a lot to players. Like they end up watching just all the top people do the most optimal stuff, so it's easy to think that that's the only way it can be done. So yeah, that's some Trinexx stuff.
What about Kholdstare? Did you go over that last time?
Nope. Only dying to Kholdstare.
Okay. Because I think that there's some good cues that people could maybe look for. Potentially to make the fight a little bit easier.
Yeah. I think 6/ is the only reasonable thing that we should probably cover.
Yes, agreed. Just basically how to keep them in the corner.
Yeah. Okay, so when you fall into this fight, you want to move straight up right. So basically, you see that you're in line with the left edge of Kholdstare's ice shell here. That's when you start fire rotting.
And you want to get a rhythm of like up then fire, up then fire, up then fire. Like get a good rhythm going for that.
If you look at my input display, you can see that I'm actually just alternating back and forth.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there are multiple ways to do this after you break the shell. What I do is walk straight up to the wall. And what this is going to do is it's going to bait out the next ice block that falls down to fall against the wall here. And if you do that, it'll still fall, but it's not going to explode in the 4 directions. So it's a lot easier for you to avoid the damage from it that way. Once I get up to this wall, I slash my sword, move straight right, and this is actually too far right. I want to be like, I want to aim for, like, I guess you would call it 8 o'clock of Kholdstare.
The eye line links ear up with like, you know, the edge of one of the bricks, if that makes sense.
Oh,
like I
yeah,
make sure
yeah.
his ear is lined up with the brick edge
In
when
like
the light coming down.
the second line of bricks or the first one, like the bottom?
Yeah,
right?
like where you are right now.
Okay. Yeah.
In my delay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see his ears lined up with like the brick there. That's usually what I aim for. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as you're like in that general area, that's a good spot to go down and spin.
And then once you hear the ice block fall again, is when you want to move straight down from here. And so once you get to the bottom left of Kholdstare, that's basically when you're going to release your spin. This is where I release it. Most of the time. And so now you can see that the ice block is actually falling at the top of the wall there, and it's not going to explode in 4 directions. And then this is a really good spot for the spin, which is going to start to get him up into the top right corner.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also a Q for the slashing as well, which is makes it easy every time.
Alright, so after you release the spin, what I do is I move straight up to this line of tiles, and then I start moving straight right and slashing.
Yeah. And if you're in a good enough spot, you actually don't have to wiggle back and forth. You can just slash, but wiggling kind of ensures every time that you'll not have to worry at all about the falling ice or anything, or about them spreading the cold
Right
stairs.
there is where I do a little wiggle right here, because if I hadn't, you can see that ice block would have hit me.
Yeah.
And that's 6 slash.
Yeah. So just easy cues to look out for to make the fight.
You kind of have to watch what the puffs are doing and sort of react to them. Like you'll start to, like, you don't want to spam slash at all. You definitely want to very carefully time these slashes. So if you try to go, well, completely miss it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you try to
That's the
go
same
too
for, like-
fast, they'll come out, and like if you miss them once, you're basically kind of screwed because then they can just come straight at you and hit you.
Yeah. But it's like the same with the ball and chain guard. Like, you don't want to spam your slashes at ball and chain. You want to do it with, like, a rhythm. It's the same thing here. Like, slash them with a rhythm.
There are very few instances I can even think of in the game where you spam your sword.
I don't think I ever spam my sword.
Yeah.
Arrows are maybe about the only thing you
Yeah.
can spam, but in some cases it's better to time them anyway.
Yeah.
So
Um,
that's my safe approach to Kholdstare, and I think a good number of people do it that way as well. But there are definitely other legitimate approaches that work just as well. So
yeah.
you spam at Vitreous. Please, oh, please don't do that. Okay, okay. Well, let's show you. Let's show you a thing.
Off to Vitty we go.
Yeah, if you have powder, especially, are you taking powder, American Choir Boy? 'Cause if you have powder, you're always going to have a bunch of hearts walking into you. So, I can show you the iframe strat. That is not as difficult as WQ Vitty, but pretty decent, I guess you could say. Let's say that you do have full health. Not fill my HP. Oh, I fill. Here we go. Alright, so if you have full hearts, you can do 4 spins here. Do like 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Easy every time. Try to hit as many eyeballs as you can and just walk really far around the eyeballs to make sure that they don't match you. If you have a billion hearts, this is no big deal. Don't do this. Don't walk into the room, immediately charge your sword, and then walk up. Because that takes a billion years.
Yeah, you'll walk slower like that, and then gives the eyes the chance to come at you.
Mm-hmm. Neat pause frame. Yeah. So WQ Vitty is really, really good if you do not have powder. And I'll just link the video because my explanation of it is not going to be as good as Joe's probably. WQ Vitty is something like this.
Guess you could go over like what visual cues you use.
Yep, for sure.
For each spin.
Wanted to show it once. The first thing you do is walk up to this little pile of goo right here. And then you're going to face left and slash. Very important that you actually face left first and slash. Don't try to do it too fast or else you're going to end up slashing this guy right here. And that's bad. Face left and slash, and then walk to this. Like, you can see there's kind of a diamond pattern of like 4 tiles here. And I try to be on the west one of those before walking straight up. At that point, I walk straight up and release the spin right there. And then you want to walk down a little bit and slash as soon as you possibly can to recharge your sword. Walk over here to this little like empty spot, sort of. Make sure that you have your iframes again. Release your second spin right where, so like underneath the goo there's like the 4 eyeballs that are always there and you never hit. Release your second spin right below the second eyeball from the left there. And then you're going to slash again as soon as possible. Walk out to the right here, get iframes again, move in, and release another spin and walk straight out of that. And if you do it right, you should only ever take 4 hearts of damage. And I put that pause there just to see, like, the pause is there to judge what you have to do to finish off the last eyeball. Sometimes you don't have to do anything if you manage to hit a bunch of them with, like, your second spin.
Hi.
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 I just wanted to note, because you were talking about your visual cue for when to start going up, and I think you can, if it's easier for anyone that doesn't want to use the tiles on the floor, when Link is even with the leftmost eyeball, I'm pretty sure that's still safe to just start moving up. You might want to be a little more left of that to make sure that like a moving eyeball doesn't actually just, you know, come at you and kill you, but that leftmost eyeball is actually a pretty good visual cue for when to stop and start moving upward.
Yeah, that seems like it would be good unless, does that left eyeball ever move, like, before you get to this point?
I've never had a problem with it, but...
I think you want to be more left of him, actually. Because if you... I think that's... One of the problems that I had was actually not going far enough left before moving up here, and I would end up getting hit by one of the eyeballs on the left that moved, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You might want to be a little more left of that, but that's another visual cue to use, like your reference with that leftmost eyeball.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good point. You don't always have to, you know, ascribe to whatever visual cues everyone else uses. Like, look at the spot where you should be, and then look around and see if there are any other visual cues that are better for you, or your TV, or whatever you're looking at. Oh wow. After actual test, backdoor saves about a second. Backdoor Trinexx is only a second. Couldn't have chosen a better place to. Buttspot is so good at his job. On point.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes. Alright, so yeah, that's some Vitty stuff. Any more questions before I move on to some other topic?
I think there was something.
I guess it kind of pains me to do this, but this is an option if you have more hearts.
I know what you're gonna do.
I mean,
I know.
here's the thing.
It's fine.
don't do this strat like instantaneously, just like walking into the room. Like if you end up getting hit by an eyeball or something and like you have low hearts or something and there's only a few of them left, then try to do this. What you can do is you can walk all the way to the right wall over here, move straight up, and you can dash turn up here. And you won't actually take damage from the goo. At this point, you can kind of time your slashes. Definitely don't spam to finish these guys off. It's called safety, but it's not really that safe, so... But yeah, that's a screen.
It keeps you safe from the lightning, at least,
yeah,
more than anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
only do that if you run out of hearts.
yeah.
And can't spin anymore.
Yeah.
Well, if you run out of hearts, you die.
Do as many
Oh, you know
spins
what I mean.
as you possibly can, and keep in mind that you still have 20 arrows too. So
Yes, you can use those.
yeah, ACB like that may work occasionally, but it's not going to be 100% consistent, and neither is this. I mean, this is not like standing in the top right is not consistent 100% of the time either. There's no like safe spot you can ever stand and not get hit.
Sorry, I just watched
Good fight.
Vitreous chase you down.
Yeah.
Bopping around. What about... Did you go over Mummy's statue room?
Yes, last time, but not.
Last
this
time we did a little bit.
Okay.
So I can always link. I have all the timestamps and everything.
So I feel like Mummy's statue's got a really easy... Well, I shouldn't say really easy, but like, you do the same thing, like, you probably won't get screwed up in that room very easily.
What I'll do actually is
Kind of like middle road almost. Like
I linked this last time too, I think. There's Blunt's description of mummy statue stuff. And that's where we went over it last time. I tried to go over Blunt's cues there. You can definitely look at that stuff. I thought I was enlightened to some new science the other day, but haven't gotten a chance to like actually fully test it out, so can't say for sure whether it works or not. Okay, if there are no specific questions, I'm just going to go over a bunch of really small, quick tips.
Is the grand finale of this stream going to be the weekly?
Yes. Times a day.
Nice.
Okay. Cool. All right. So walking into this room, I think most people know that you hold right to avoid the first text box, right? But you should also be holding the A button, because if you're holding the A button, it allows you to basically Instagrab switches as you're walking up to them. This is both true of this switch and the one in Swamp as well. So I'm holding A right here, and then hitting L and R to clear that conversation. You can just walk up to the switch, tap up, and he's going to grab it instantaneously. You can grab that switch from really far left too. Except the only thing that you have to do here is make sure you have at least a frame of neutral D-pad before you actually start pulling. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You're just going to walk away from it. Sexy statue is not something that I can explain well. Nor do I think it's necessarily worth the time that gets put into it, but
Yeah.
I can send you some images that I have of cues for like where to push it and such. But I am definitely not the person to go over that.
Are you saying your statue isn't sexy?
It's really like
Mine's really not
like a 5
sexy
at
at all.
best. Now the mimic room in Pa is something I can probably go. Actually, had that on the list anyway. Into Emma's strategy. Images of sexy station. Alright, let's try some here. One thing is that pumping up right here is actually pretty good as opposed to dashing. Your dash has to be really good for it to be any faster than just walking there. Mildly attractive, but not close to sexy. Alright. I actually need to look at this clip because... But y'all should check that out. It's really good strat. Pretty easy. Alright, so you kill... right one for... Oops, you actually have to...
I guess yeah.
You walk diagonal past it. I guess there's another version you can do where you use your sword like that. I really like that version of it. I'm just bad at it. So watch Emma's clip and not me. Because I can't do this version.
I guess the thing to note here is you wanna... I need to get my controller because I don't know the inputs off by heart.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting the arrow, you want to, like, as he's shooting the bow, you want to tap right to move the mimic. So it's like as, like, not like as it's like the arrow's going or anything, but just like you have a short window kind of, but
during
like
the
not...
bow animation itself.
Yeah. So then that helps you get the guy over.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you can do that, or you can just slash your sword here to manipulate him. Find that easier. Just trying to show like a few different versions. The strat that I do, I don't know that I can call it like a proper mimic room or anything, but kind of the same concept. You want to be holding up the entire time here, and you can fire like really early into this room. Like that's where I try to like fire my first arrow, and then you need to keep walking straight up, and then after you fire your second arrow you need to like tap left really quickly. I would not really recommend trying this if you want like an actual easy strat though. Yeah, I would recommend doing some version of Emma's strat.
Yeah, the sword method is like a pretty easy way. That's how I used to do it until I learned otherwise, and it was, I mean, it works every time really. Like the problem with the tapping when the bow is going is that you can miss tap or you know, and then the mimic is looking at you and shooting a fireball in your face, so last thing you want to do in that room is take damage.
So the sword out version is probably the best one to recommend for consistency.
Yeah.
Okay, so these spin bomb jumps. Can you just link your video saving? Because I have played with them a little bit, but I'm definitely not good at them.
Yeah, me neither. I always fall in the holes.
That's not. Okay. I was like, I thought you said you did a video. Okay, that's better. You have to be in the slipping animation as you release B. Okay. You have to tap back at all?
Yeah, you need to come back to land, and that's like when you release B while you're slipping, Link will release the spin. On the first frame, you come back to land. So that's how you're exactly a pixel off the edge.
So you release B and then hold down?
Yep. And then stop holding down during your spin.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it
exactly
either.
free, I would say.
No.
Probably after you learn it and get a feel for it.
I don't think it's free.
Yeah, no. I would not describe it
I'm
as
not particularly good at them either, I must say.
There's just so much risk to it, too.
Yeah. It's like, what if you fall in the hole?
Especially for this one. Like, I guess Skullwoods wouldn't be so bad, but this one would suck.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, this is the version that I do.
Yeah, I mean, the dash strats for bomb jumps are slightly slower, but I find them to be really consistent because they give you a huge window for where you can bonk.
Hey,
Hey.
I'm gonna be annoying because I missed half of the explanation, but I'm gonna ask that strat you were just talking about with holding the sword out. You move up until you start falling, and then you hold back and then release the spin.
You release the spin while you're slipping.
Okay.
Like release B. But Link will actually do the spin attack. The first frame, he's back on land. So that's how you consistently set up yourself to be on that window.
Yeah. I mean, definitely everyone should try it.
Interesting.
Everyone should try it for themselves, absolutely. I mean,
Now that's just slightly faster than the bonk because of human error frames and because you gain control of Link faster, I assume?
When you bonk, the bomb won't actually send you across the gap until the bonk animation itself is over.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So-
Human error
Yeah, so
frames.
it's slower.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I
if
mean,
you do
if
it
you-
perfectly, it won't lose any time for that reason. If you
Yeah.
like start your dash at the perfect possible time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that I just usually walk right in the hole every time. But I probably haven't practiced it enough.
Same.
Okay. So something I was going to show is this the safe exit from desert here. Because this is really not that much slower.
Oh, Cactus Dash?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Did you know?
This is Deep's tutorial. You get all the swaggy stupid strats.
I've never even attempted Cactus Strat. No, I attempted it once in a run because I was just messing around and I got it. I was like, what the heck? And every other time I tried it after that, I missed it, so.
This is the safe desert exit, and this only loses like, let's say, 15 something frames, maybe a little bit
it's
more.
not much at all.
Over doing this, the Sandman dash, I can't do that, clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was 18 frames.
Are you just not learning about spin bomb jump, Steve?
I haven't heard about it before. I feel like it's a fairly new thing and I haven't really kept up.
Yeah,
It is new,
I
yeah.
guess it is a fairly new thing.
Yeah, this is just way safer. There's no risk to it. Like, you're not going to get hit by the Sandman or whatever, and it's such an easy
Have
path,
you-
and it's only 18 frames.
Have you tried, like, how much faster it is to dash, like, where the mouth is, if that makes sense? On the ground?
Oh, you mean the Gref exit? This thing?
What? I don't know what that means.
Gref does this version of the.
Oh, no,
the
no, no,
desert
no, no.
exit.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely
no,
not.
no, no. Like, do the normal, like, beginning, but where you start your second dash is higher. Like, you know, like, the thing on the ground kind of looks like an octopus with a mouth. If you start it, like, on the top of the mouth. Does nobody else see that but me?
don't
Like, I
know
say
what
that
you're
and I'm like,
talking
there's a
about.
mouth. Okay, just go down to, like, where
Wait,
It
how
is.
was Greenham doing it before? Greenham just
he was
showed me how to do it
dashing
before.
further down and dashing
Oh, I think
right.
I know what you're saying.
There's like, yeah, you kind of see it looks like a face looking to the left.
This is what you're talking about. This guy. All right. So where are you talking about starting your dash?
Like the top of what looks like a mouth, I guess.
Okay. So
Like
yeah,
looks like a beak
Oh,
almost.
that
The
thing. I was like,
main-
okay.
the main variance that you're gonna get here has to do with this slope right here. So it's always gonna kind of be dependent on your subpixel and where you actually hit this slope. There are good spots to hit the slope from both like up here and down here though. So I don't think there's actually a huge difference in terms of time.
I was just curious about the timing,
Yeah,
if
let me
like you
see.
got a different.
I think you want to start it around the yeah, because the mouth is like too low.
Well, yeah, the top part of like if it's a beak, you start like on the top part of the beak. I don't like
And which
that's how
which
I've
part
always
is the
looked at it.
calamari?
The octopus with the beak.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's,
got it.
that's like that was like 3 frames different, and
Man, don't you
really.
guys have imaginations? Jeez.
Dude, too bad the developers missed the chance to include a squad of squids.
All
on
right.
the,
So yeah,
drawn in the desert sand.
it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. There will be a few frames difference, and I think dashing up here can be better. It's just about what visual cue you find that works best for you. Like if you want to use the octopus, squid, eye, whatever, that's cool. What I look for is this third rock right here. That puts you in between these two guys right here.
I imagine that thing in the sand that's supposed to be a Geldman. Like if he was fully out of the sand, is that what he would look like? Maybe. What else is it? Like,
And see, that was the top route, and I got 1202, but that was a bad slope dash. So there's a lot of variance you can get from that. But anyway, do the safe exit regardless. If you find that you're screwing up the Geldman dash. Looks like a longhorn. Well, yeah, these guys do.
is it an Octorok?
It's got too many tentacles. Yo, what do you think, dude?
I have no idea, dude.
I don't know. These are the important questions.
Octopus with a beak.
Also, if you don't want to do fake flippers, which is only how many seconds does it save?
6.
6.
Oh, sorry, I meant 20.
But yeah, if you don't want to risk soft locking for 6 seconds worth of time save, what is the path? It's this way.
You don't even know.
Northwest breeze, dude. Come on.
West side breeze, not
Whatever.
the northwest. Come
Northwest.
on, man. It's like you weren't
I
even.
live in the northwest.
You go left. Yeah, you come up here. Yep. You do not want to dash through the grass here like you just did.
Dude, I don't know this path at all.
Oh my god. I think Josh is gonna vomit.
It's giving me stage 3 fucking melanoma over here.
Melanoma? I was like, gonna be your skin cancer.
I don't know. It just is.
Breeze is too hard.
So don't dash into that tree.
Bad breeze.
You just dash up
Poison.
through this. Oh, dash below here, right? So you don't hit this grass.
Oh yes. Now we're optimizing it.
Oh, this lag, dude.
Where are you getting lag? We'll have to see.
Well, you dashed through the grass at the bottom there. I think maybe a rupee came out. That didn't help with the lag.
No. This cannot be the path either.
There's a video for the best path on this screen.
Good.
Quick warp indicator is just
Oh,
taking
laughing.
all
Going
my
nuts.
attention. I'll just keep staring at it. QW.
Like,
Oh, there's a fairy in that tree, huh?
like,
Things you learn.
Wait,
Oh,
You
huh.
probably want to go left of this tree, huh?
Watch that video, Graham, please and thank you. God, you gotta learn the 6-year-old tech.
Yeah, dude.
You new kids.
Man, how did
Hey,
you guys
I did West
ever
Side Breeze
deal
when I
with this?
started. I did this when I
This is
started.
horrible. Why is this the laggiest path in the world?
Well, if you watch the YouTube video,
Yeah. So anyway.
If you take it down,
Questions. Who's got questions? Hopefully not involving West Side Breeze.
that screen is, by the way, one of the few Overworld screens that has a really good name.
Wait, which one?
The one with all the trees and the guards.
Oh. Is it?
West Side Breeze.
But how was that? It's not a good name at all.
It is.
There's no. Where's the breeze?
The breeze is from you doing it fast, but I guess I see how you don't see it because you're not
Exactly,
doing
dude.
it fast.
oh shit!
God.
So what you want to do is you want to kill all these guards, get this bomb under this rock,
Dash up,
select.
stop, pause.
stand there for a while.
I refuse to watch that video.
Wow.
Alright, one thing I wanted to show in GTower.
Greenham practicing West Side lag.
Savage.
Hell, dude.
That's a good question,
Ganon,
Fricker.
yeah.
Oh,
Ganon
okay.
warping poorly.
I will show that. Christos Ganon, yeah. Somebody put the clip in there.
Look at
please.
me. What's the command?
Oh, actually.
Look at me? No. What is it?
It's probably penis.
Ganon dick?
Include one.
Okay. I got it.
RNG control. Ganon warps to. Let's see. Want to trigger it on? This should totally be called mid left. Alright, so what causes Ganon to face down is after the trident spin, if you walk into the path where he's warping, then he's going to face down. But all is not entirely lost. There are ways to save it. They're not easy, but there are ways to save it.
But isn't it actually faster if he's facing down, too?
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah, if you can do it.
That was very much in his path.
Oh!
One way to fix it. Yo, Cans. This is a Q&A sesh. But anyway, that's what causes it, is if you are walking basically in the path of where he is warping. Right here, he's warping basically straight down. So if you cross this path at all, he's going to end up...
And isn't there something to do with slashing your sword too early, too?
I don't know.
Josh?
Yeah, if you like walk to where he's gonna warp and you slash like while you're standing where he's gonna warp, that can often trigger it as well.
Interesting.
Hog dog? I mean, it's not totally wrong, really. It is made from pig parts, so...
Yeah.
There is some pig contained within hot dog.
Yeah.
All beef dogs is where it's at, though.
Breed.
What breed is that?
Oh, so something I actually wanted to go over for Ganon is missing torch glitch. Because this sucks, but it's possible still to get 2 hits at least. Okay. So you've missed torch glitch. Crap. Do not use fire rod at all. You're obviously just going to want to use the lamp. You conserve your magic because you need to light both torches each time. What you want to do is, after he shoots his first flame here, light. When he gets down to the bottom here, light again. And you can guaranteed get 2 spins in. And you just kind of want to repeat that process. Wait till he shoots the fire, light down here, light again. But you actually want to wait until he lands, otherwise you probably miss this spin. Oh, you still get it, that's nice. Generally you want to wait for him to do this at the top, so that you can get this first spin in. So, wait out this cycle.
And if you're waiting for the right torch to go out, you don't want to like light the left one in the meantime. I think that's probably obvious, but
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yo, cross product, what's up?
Oh, you have to.
Yep, so wait till he's at the top of the room. Use the fire bat. That's my hook shot, not lamp. Good stuff.
Dope hook shot.
He doesn't think we're very funny, I guess.
The worst Thieves laugh.
Oh, crap. I haven't made that into a sound effect yet, I'm failing.
It's on the list.
Top of the room, use the fire, light that one, wait for him to get to the bottom, light that one, try to spin immediately. Just spins it. And yeah, make sure you delay and just wait until he goes to the top of the room.
I don't know if it's worth talking about the free spin,
Oh.
but that's
probably.
something people don't know, and it's
Probably,
easy.
because it is pretty free. So, after you slash Ganon for the last time in Phase 3 here, you want to immediately charge another spin, and then release it before or during the text box that comes up. So right here is a guaranteed free hit, and it counts towards Phase 4. So if I just release a spin
so
here, I should
cool.
be okay.
So,
I've completely let go of B. You'll release it out of this text box. The only thing that sucks is if he's going to teleport to the same spot anyway, he freezes. So
Yeah.
that sucks.
Blue ham.
Yep. So that's what determines it. I'm pretty sure is if he was going to warp to the same spot, then he will freeze instead. But I think maybe there are some other triggers of it. Yeah, we did go over blind cross. We've gone over a few times now, so you can either look back in this VOD or here's a link from the first session that should take you to blind stuff. Oh, there's actually more at the end too. So.
You probably said this, but just to reiterate, the reason that hit on Ganon is free, that you just explained, is because if he's on the top or bottom when you last hit him for Phase 3, he's going to stay on the same side.
Right,
so if he's on the top, he'll stay on the top. If he's on the bottom, he'll stay on the bottom. So don't try to anticipate him moving up. Just like if he's on the bottom, just know that he's going to go into one of the 4 spots on the bottom.
Oh my god. I just watched the clip from last night again.
So good. Man, I'm consistently getting blue ham here. Alright, so that's what you do if you miss Torch Switch. I wouldn't call them
I gotta
two
go
free
put a
hits.
diaper on.
Well, you get 1 free hit. The second one
Yeah.
is
It's hard.
Risky
depends on where he
AF.
warps to. It's risky, and it depends on where he warps to. Like, there are certain positions he can warp to that you just cannot get Torch Glitch and
Yeah.
also get the second hit off.
Yep. Would not recommend, but definitely do the first one if you feel comfy.
It's a lot harder to do if he's at the top of the room at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Either of the top rights possible.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
could be at cross. It could have locked already. Oh, actually, you know what it is? It is because I have the RNG set. That's one of the
Oh,
quirks
right.
about, like, if you're trying to set the RNG for Phase 2, where he goes to, or after his first warp where he goes to, then it's also going to lock that in for all of his other warps. So that's why I'm getting blue ham here, because he's trying to warp to the same spot every time. Okay, any other questions? We've got plenty of stuff to talk about. So.
That might be muted on his stream.
What?
Wait, what?
Are sound effects muted on stream?
Oh, not from Discord, no.
Oh, dope. Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything.
Shoot.
Oh, we got a question.
On console, it does a much better job of mixing RNGs when you load states, because the way console like reads or seeds RNG is going to be looking at something different every time you load.
I just lost my.
But on emulator, it's actually a lot easier to lock RNGs in.
What are the benefits, drawbacks of varying dungeon order? So, I like to do swamp before ice so I can have hookshot. Yeah, I mean that's valid. I think there are probably still Japanese runners that do that, but I think that route is slightly outdated and less efficient.
Oh.
But I don't think
It's
there's
slow.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, the simplest answer. Yeah, the simplest answer to the question. Yeah, it might be a little safer because you have hookshot, but what everyone does, at least what the top runners do now, is the fastest thing you can do. At least that's known.
Yeah.
The big thing you could definitely look into varying is when you get Ether and Ice Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't lose much time to get it in the not best way.
Yeah, so the optimal time to get it is during the Mire segment. However, it is definitely not the safest time to get it. If you're a new runner starting out and you, well, I mean, I guess if you have powder, it's really not the worst thing in the world to get Ice Rod and Ether during the Mire segment, because you can just powder anti-fairies and bunny beams in Mire or whatever. But if you don't have powder, I would highly recommend considering getting that stuff before Swamp, just to ensure that you will have full hearts for Mire going in. General geometry wizard tips, by which I'm guessing you mean Agah 2. So, I'm assuming you've probably seen Blunt's tutorial already.
If not, what the hell are you doing?
Give it a watch.
Yeah. See a lot of people charging spins for every cycle, which isn't always the best option.
I'm certainly not the best person to demonstrate these things, but I can give you some general tips on it. And one of the things that Emma just said is quite important. For every single pattern you get, it's not the best idea to spin. The general cases in which you want to spin are when the clones are in some sort of line and behind the real Agah. Otherwise, you generally want to kind of line up right angles with the clones and the real Agah and use slashes instead. So I'll try my best to demonstrate some of that, but guarantees.
Another thing to keep in mind is Link always slashes from right to left, and obviously that's going to change depending on the way he's facing. So if you're facing up, he's going to start at like his right shoulder and slash forward to the left. And if you hit a ball, there's a tendency that the ball will kind of follow that same trajectory and go slightly left as it goes up. So that's specifically if you're facing up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's very helpful. That's something I should pay attention to more myself. So. Alright, so for this opening pattern, I don't think a spin is the best option here. You would probably want to be relatively close to the real Agah, and then you're going to end up moving like straight back left.
Yo, like, I just died, right? And
try to get the other energy balls. So this scenario, a spin might actually be a good idea. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not. Generally, if you're going to release a spin, you want to start out pretty close to the real Agah, and then as the energy balls actually come out, you want to move down a little bit, which kind of gives you a little bit of room to allow the energy balls to actually connect. If you get too close to them and you just release a spin, they're going to hit at the same time, which only counts as one hit. So.
So the way blue balls work, the first cycle will always be yellow in Aghanim 2. The next two are a 50-50, but then the fourth cycle is also a guaranteed yellow. So it's on a different cycle than Aghanim 1 is, and that's actually pretty important to know, that you get a guaranteed shot in the fourth cycle.
Like here, for instance, I know that I have a 50-50 on the blue ball, so, you know, spinning here may not necessarily be the best thing, because I might be spinning away a blue ball, which may not give me enough time to actually hit any of the actual energy balls from the clones, and it may just knock them away. So that can be just something to be semi-aware of, but I'm still going to try and spin because that's the best option. You don't want to necessarily try to always be going for getting 3 hits in like every single time or anything. Getting 2 each time is damn good. Well, that's a 3 cycle, so you're gonna take that every time for sure. So don't like, at least get 1 in, you know. Do what you have to do to ensure you're gonna get at least 1. That means standing in some stupid spot. And that's
one
fine.
thing that maybe even you might not know, Greenham, given what you just did. If you are doing a spin on the second or third cycle, or any cycle where you have a blue ball chance, and you are doing it from above or below him, you want to stand kind of off center, so the blue ball, if you do get a blue ball, it doesn't like hit you.
Oh, yeah.
Because if it hits you, you're not going to be able to. You're useless.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good point.
I have a
You
question.
can also very much stand like inside the clones, which can be useful sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like. I definitely recommend watching Blunt's thing because.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Is there a way to give, like in a practice hack or something, is there a way to give Aghanim 2 like infinite health so you can just keep doing different patterns over and over?
They'd probably get really out of sync after a while, and it would become unlike the actual fight. So I don't know.
Okay. I find that they end up syncing back up eventually if they get out of sync.
I've never been that out of sync. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it continues in that same pattern after the fourth cycle, but I'm not 100% sure because
you've never seen a
I
5 sequel and you
care-
never will.
No, I like care less about what's happening after after that point. It's already bad.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the fifth at least does go back to being a 50-50.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing though is to like just aim for getting 2, like don't try to get 3 because you'll probably end up only getting like 1 or whatever.
Very true.
You also
Unless
you
they're all
want
in a line,
to
but-
in the second and third cycles you want to, if you can, try to prioritize the clone shots because you know that they're going to be yellow shots and they're going to be good.
Alright. This is helpful for me too, because I really need Agah 2 practice.
They look yellow.
Doesn't
to you?
everyone?
Do they look yellow?
The shot, the energy shots.
Well, that's what like everyone calls them, but they're
They
not
don't even look
They
yellow.
look like white and red and blue.
Yeah.
Well, No one wants to call them white shots or white balls.
Okay,
Just
Definitely
whoa.
not. Definitely not.
Why not just energy shots? Jesus.
Oh,
Put
that's
that
the
on
dominant
Pornhub.
color.
America shots.
Wizard shoots. Or 3 wizards shoot. White shots.
Shoots.
Wizard shoots.
Yeah, wizard shoots, white shots. I was not done my sentence.
Oh, the good old WSWS.
Something you can potentially do in these scenarios, I don't necessarily recommend, but you can damage yourself off of the real Agah, and give yourself iframes to kind of get behind one of the energy balls and shoot it at him. I didn't even see where the real one was. But just something else you can play around with in that fight. Yeah, that's the angle at which it comes off of his sword is so weird to me sometimes. Like, I feel like I'm lined up perfectly, but then he ends up hitting it a completely different direction. Okay, more questions. Got about an hour until the weekly. Probably gonna wrap up the stream like in about 30 minutes or so, I'd say, just to give everyone a little time to get ready for the weekly and everything. Do you need any arrows coming out of pod? Or are the 15 from
Would
Thieves?
like
tanks?
some, but you don't need it.
Yeah, they're not absolutely necessary. Advice on Swamp Boss.
And if you had exactly 0, like the 15 from Swamp and Thieves aren't going to be enough to get you to 18 at Ice Armos. So you will need other pots. At least her rocks, and probably also an extra pot in Ganon Tower.
Alright, so for Arrghus, I mean, we're not gonna bother talking about Zero Cycle or anything, but I can show you safe and easy stuff for him. Alright, so you want to stay at the bottom here initially, and you're just going to hook and slash. And the reason you're staying at the bottom here is so that you're baiting him to the middle of the room here, because you're going to end up moving to the right and then hooking back and forth like this, and you kind of want to wiggle back and forth to bait him to your location, but you don't want to like go all the way to the wall over here because you're just going to end up cornering yourself and you're going to have a bad time. Yeah, I mean, I would just... Shadows, if you want to learn Zero Cycle stuff, DMD actually has a good tutorial on the... has a really good tutorial on that wiki page there. So I would advise just looking at that.
R butt.
Link to the
Look how you
past
linked it to.
dash weebot.
Yeah,
You should have shown.
oh, you just wanted to see how others do it. I mean, I can show you what I do. But...
The double whammy butts.
He's like, no, Greenham. This is the real link for the Arrghus.
He gave the command and gave the link as a bot. It's a self-learning bot on spot.
That's how I do it, Shadows. I walk up to him quite a bit before I start. Yeah,
At least
I
it's
don't want to spend too much time showing that because that's outside the scope of this. Alright, so it sounded like your question about swamp arrows got answered, so thanks, Kanzion. No, it's totally fine, dude. It's a reasonable question, but yeah, this is more like, I mean, it's absolutely for everyone, but it's kind of more geared towards people who are trying to prepare for the tourney and everything, like newer people. And I don't know, like I probably won't be able to give you much good info on it. Okay, let's just show some more small stuff I got. Don't know how to get this to go away on the overworld. Alright, so one small thing on this next screen that some people may not know. You want to hold up left coming into the screen and not reload your save state. Hey, I fixed the... But if you hold up left going into that screen and start your dash pretty soon thereafter, you're not going to be bothered by that guard. You won't clink them. You want to make sure you go to the end of the bridge, even if you do hit them, because going to the end is going to give you more time to start your dash again. Well, yeah, Kanzion, but you can still auto-swap to powder by using your last bomb, so... And most people use powder on that anti-fairy right before Vittress anyway, so you still get the swag. Look at the free menu. Okay, Mummy Room is actually a really good one. I mean, you can definitely watch Blunt's stuff on it, which I linked before. Again. Because his cues are really good. I'll try to go over them. But one thing to note, if you absolutely have to, pull out the boomerang and use them on the mummies. Don't spend a million years like killing these guys, especially since a lot of times you're gonna have sword beams. Boom them. If you just really don't feel comfortable with this room at all. So Blunt's cues that he uses for this room is he walks to this tile right here, like this red tile that's kind of on the floor entryway here. And he always walks to this spot first, and he grabs the statue from the far right, and you don't want to pull it down far at all. And start pushing it from the bottom. As far as like how far down you can pull it, you if you see like the bottom of the statue there, it has that you can see like there's one gap where there is not a darker pixel there. Like you can actually see the floor tile and then the line dividing it. That is the highest it can be right there. One further down is obviously fine as well. Generally probably what you'll get closer to. But yeah, start pushing it from the bottom. Make sure you're wiggling while you're pushing the statue so Link walks faster.
You're saying that those 2 pixels are what'll block the mummy, right? From actually going above the statue?
I'm not sure if that's the case.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. I thought that's why you were bringing it up.
I'm just saying that those are the highest pixels you can still have the statue and Link can fit behind it.
Yeah, so in those 2 pixels, Link can fit behind it, but the actual mummy will get blocked and won't be able to go above it. So you're actually safe pulling it back when you have it on one of those 2 pixels. So it's still scary, but it's actually free.
Another thing to note too is that when you're pushing the statue to the right, if one of the mummies, is pretty common for him to like come up at you, and if he does that, stop pushing and slash him down, and then keep pushing again, so it gives you more room. I don't know what to do if they both come up, because that's just when things go bad for me, so. But if one comes up, slash him down.
Yep. And it gives you a chance at knocking them back, but
yes.
You're not always guaranteed to knock them back, because mummies are just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They're a dumb, stupid enemy. And
yeah, how they interact with your sword just doesn't make any sense.
It bothers me so much. The best safety strat, though, is getting ether before you come to Skull Woods. Shoutouts to Parisian.
Gua!
Gua. Alright, what's next, y'all? Oh, here's something I've been to show. Okay, so this room here, just hold left. All you gotta do. And it'll take you to this point, and then you just have to judge what the mini Helma is gonna do and react to him. You can move up into the middle of the room, start your dash. Go. So easy. So easy. And I find this to be just way easier and more consistent than trying to use the hook shot on this guy and going above the spike and everything.
It's about the same amount of time too.
This is actually...
If you can time it.
I guess if you hit the mini Helma, it's better, but if you miss, then that's 644. $626. This is faster, safer, easier. In the case that he brushes you like that, you should cut your movement a little short. Like, don't walk all the way to the middle. Move past the spike once you can.
The triple bump.
I find this to be easy. Anything you can do here. Also, if you do like get into a sticky situation in this room, pull out ether. Use it. And that will kill all these guys, and then they are in the prize pack that has the heart, the fairy, the full magic, and everything. Okay, how to actually do Fencedash to Hyrule Castle. Sweet.
That one's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yep. Has a very, very, very wide.
You just want to dash into the slope early, basically.
Ow, my head.
Alright, so yeah.
Oh, Thieves. Yes.
You don't want to move too far right past this slope here. You want to hit this slope basically just as far left as you possibly can. You'll get it every time. But if you walk too
How
far
big's the
right,
window?
apparently, there you go. That's how far right I had to go to miss it. That still got it.
It's like a full tile, basically.
If you, wow,
Even more than that.
maybe it's just.
It just kind of gets random after a certain
Yeah, I was
point.
gonna say subpixels.
So it's a matter of starting your dash before you turn down, I thought, right? Or is it, am I...
No, I don't think it has
No.
anything to do with that. Because then you can still face down, and then right there I faced down and started it. I still got it. It's just about hitting this slope really, really early. That's all it is.
Which you should be doing anyway.
You don't want to,
Just
like in general, you don't
temperature
want to
on
hit
it.
slopes at the very, very corner. But you
Yeah, you
want to
don't
hit
want
them
to hit
just
the corner, but
little
you want to
bit
hit them
past that.
early. Yeah.
skull.
This
fence
one
dash.
will still work from the corner, though, I believe.
Yeah.
The corner essentially works like a nudge.
Oh, one thing about this is you don't have to move very far right at all to still jump off these stairs here. Like I see people coming over here and jumping down. Don't have to go that far at all. This Fencedash is super simple too. All you have to do is hit left and A to start your dash, so that link moves exactly one frame, and just use that to finish your dash. Hard part is not bonking on those bushes after you get the Fencedash.
Yeah, seriously.
You should be able to come up with a cue for when you don't have it. I use like Link's right ear when I turn up in relation to the.
Usually I'm just trying to
Yes.
like look at how far Link ends up moving. You know,
Or
if he
you could do
goes
that, yeah.
too many frames, then you're gonna bonk like right now. That work from every Y coordinate. It works from a few. Generally, when you're coming down through here, you're going to be aligned with the very top of the screen anyway. If you nudge right here, you'll be at the very top. Yep, just tap left and A at the same time. That's what I gotta do. Literally it.
Jesus.
Any other
One
questions?
thing I learned about this screen is that if you recognize that you missed it, you cancel and redash. It's like barely slower than not going for it at all. So.
Yeah, considering like how big of a deal everyone makes about it, Shadows, that makes sense. You would think it would be like some really complex trick. I wanted
Shoutouts to the Fencedash.
Yeah, dude. I wanted to show a few heart backups in this overworld in case you get screwed in the lottery.
Ice Palace.
Yes, blast. So, I was trying to get hit by him. And then did. So I wanted to show like all of the hearts that are on the way to Ice Palace, because having beams or just having lots of health for Ice Palace is pretty important in general for some of the strats. So the first one is potentially under this bush right here. And what you want to do is, if you're going to farm this bush, pick it up and then jump off the ledge with it, regardless of whether you get the drop or not. I didn't get it here, but you notice once you walk off or jump off of that ledge, you're now walking at normal speed with this bush. So you can just use this to throw into Quake. Yay, got the hard drop, sweet. And then you get Quake. So there are a few more spots after this. You still need a few, which if you get lotteried, you're going to. One is after you Mire here, this rock here is a 50-50 for a heart drop, and then you can always kill crabs to try and farm another heart, but that can be a little dangerous considering how erratic their movement is. So, since that rock is a 50-50, after you go through Zoro's domain, let's say I have flippers now, and then you're walking out of Zoro's domain, you can just walk down here and grab this rock again to try to farm another heart. And if you're really feeling brave, I mean, you can try to farm the crabs for another one. But yeah, those are the good heart spots in the overworld here. And then similarly for Mire, there are a few spots along the way where you can try to farm for some hearts if you end up getting hit. Yeah, I kind of agree, Shadows. It seems like most of the time what happens to me is if I try to farm the crabs, I end up losing more health than I started with, so... But here's a nice, good example of deathmatch during this segment. The quick warp here, by the way, is with Link directly centered beneath it. And you can actually get the next one by not moving from this spot, dashing. But for heart farming, the 4 cardinal directions here of these bushes have a potential for hearts or fairies, so that's an option. Alright, so let's say you go get Ether, now you're gonna go get Ice Rod, and you're still down some hearts. Again, this is dangerous, but you're like absolutely desperate for getting hearts, you can farm these crabs here as well. Don't kill them with a dash, because killing things with dashes sets the drop rate to 0 and you won't get anything. But those are just a few spots in the overworld where you can potentially farm for some hearts for Mire. Also, this rock over here has a 50-50 bomb. Short one. Yo, welcome back, GLS. Any more questions? We got about 10 minutes left. Does everyone know what to do if you get hit at fake flippers?
Probably just leave
Well, in a race
your
setting.
house. Just leave your house. Just go outside.
Yeah, just actually physically walk, stand up, put down the controller, leave your house.
Change your name.
Alright, so let's say you get hit here. Don't hit anything else and hold select. Okay, it's very important that you do not hit anything else. Don't hit a D-pad, input, face button, anything. Only hit select. And then save and quit out of it. And then you're going to start from Link's house.
Is that allowed in the tournament?
Yeah, for the tournament, I think what we said is for group stage, you can just start from Link's house and then proceed however you want from there. Which at this point, you would just go and do West Side Breeze.
West side.
West Side. And you would just go up this way to get to Hera. Can you go over Ganon Tower quick torches? You mean like Torches 1?
Wait, there was another question.
Oh, my bad. Oh, avoiding bird hit in Thieves Overworld. Yeah, that's a good one. I actually had that on the list.
The Dacto.
Yo, nice enemy name call out.
Yeah, that guy's a jerk.
Yep, you should always.
That's a freaking. I would use other words, but no.
We all know what word you use.
Well, you guys know.
He is not a real
No.
cool head, that's for sure.
There's a couple
No,
of other
he is
words that I
not.
would use.
Alright,
Not just one.
so the first thing here is as you're coming through this spot, you don't want to move any farther right than you absolutely have to. Like, don't come all the way over here to this side and then start a dash. As you're coming through here, as soon as you see Link like kind of shift to the left at all, you're good to start a dash. And it's actually better because if you nudge on this tree right here, it actually gives you a little bigger window for this bird dash. Now, the really just brain dead simple way to do it is just walk a little bit right and then dash left. He definitely will not hit you. But if you are going for the optimal version of this, try to nudge the tree. And then actually, look how high you can actually start that dash still, and he won't hit you. So hopefully that helps, Shadows.
Yeah, just make sure you start the dash pretty soon. Like, don't there. I think that's
Yeah.
obvious, but. And if you're ever unsure, just like dash down, I guess, closer to the bottom wall.
Yeah.
That'll-
Go. Yeah, if you have to go past like that little slope there at all, that's totally fine. If you got to do that to be safe. Okay, so torches 1. The trick with this is, number 1, you have to go fast. So that entails throwing the pots quickly after you pick them up, and it also entails not being like, you don't have to hug the torch to actually light it. You can be a good distance away and still hit the torch, as you can see. So those two things alone, in combination with really good movement, will ensure that you don't get hit at all.
The best movement you can possibly do is having Link slightly on the top side of those little bridges without actually falling. So you don't waste any more movement coming back up any further. And obviously being as close to the middle block as you can when you're walking past it.
You mean the fire bar? It always starts at the same spot. Yeah, like if you exit this room and you come back into it, it'll be at 12 o'clock again. Yeah, sprite despawn, you just have to mirror to fix it. Nothing you can do. But yeah, that's actually a really good tip about walking at the top of the platforms, but that's obviously pretty dangerous, and like if you like start to slip on any of these corners, you're gonna lose a bunch of time. So walking cleanly on these little ledges is really important too. So good movement, throwing the pot fast, lighting from far away, quickly after you throw the pot. All the keys to that. Oh, here's what you should do if you have low magic. Pick up this pot, come down here, pick up this guy. Or actually, no, there's a few ways you can do it. I think... What's the OEG way? I think you come down here, I thought. You don't map. Mapping is bad.
Are you still on torches?
Oh, this is what you do. Yeah, I'm showing what you do if you have low magic.
Oh, okay.
That's what you do if you have low
Um,
magic.
I was gonna bring up a point about the fast way. I'm literally the only one that does this, I'm pretty sure. But I pause buffer from the cane
Oh, yeah.
to the lamp in this room. So what I do is the first torch for the lamp all the way on the right, or the torch all the way on the right, I'll pick up the pot, I'll throw it, and then I'll pause buffer, and if I moved any amount of pixels towards the lamp, I don't need to move any more right in order to light it anymore. so it keeps me from going closer to the lamp than I have to. But I play on keyboard, so that's probably a big part of why I'm the only one that does that. I don't know if there's a comfortable grip where you can throw a pot and pause quickly thereafter while holding right easily. So just a something I do that if somebody wants to try and apply it to their play, they can try.
Yeah, for sure. Pros and cons for which small key you grab in GT. So personally, I still get the torch key, and I will probably always get the torch key, because the amount of time that it loses over the other keys is very minimal. I'm pretty sure it's less than a second, considering everything. Not just like the room itself. Like the room itself, if you skip torch key, like saves 2 seconds. The other strats that you have to do to either get the mini Helma key or the chest key costs more time than doing the strat if you don't have to get them. So, me, the torch key is just the easy answer for pretty much every skill level, including my own personally. So, if you want to do the absolute fastest one, I'm pretty sure the chest before Moldern 2 is the best one to do. The mini Helma one, I'm pretty sure, is only faster if you get really good RNG from the mini Helmas themselves. And the chest before Moldern 2, the strat to actually do that is pretty complicated, I feel. And there are a lot of moving parts to it, and you can still kind of get screwed from the anti-fairy. So, in my opinion, torch key for life. It's like people say, oh, it's the slowest key, but it's really not. Like when people say that, it sounds like it's 20 seconds, but it's less than one. So.
This key's best.
What's best? I mean, I like mini Helma key if you have parts.
Yeah, the mini Helma key takes damage, and the mini Helma key also doesn't get the magic. And if you get the mini Helma key and the magic, you're not saving much time over a chest key. At all, really.
But that's just my opinion, so it's... What I encourage you to do is just time it for yourself and see what you feel is better for you, because what is optimal for someone else is not necessarily going to be optimal for you. This song is from Asura's Wrath, apparently.
Oh, you're not listening to I Get Around? That's unfortunate.
No, but that's what I'm going to do immediately after this stream, so... I think that's going to wrap it up right there. Unless anyone has, like, some really quick questions or something, but... I wanted to try to cut it right about here to give everyone time to get set up for the weekly and everything, so... I do want to thank everyone that has been hanging out, and especially everyone that's been in voice helping answer questions. So Josh, Emma, Deebs, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Everyone else in chat has been answering questions. Thank ya. If any of you are just like curious about commands and stuff, you can always DM the bot in Discord, or you can just go to the Help Us Sword King Twitch channel and use all the commands in there at your whim. There's tons of good information in there. You can look back at you can look back at the VODs, obviously on this channel, and see the first Q&A if you want to roll through that. Everything is timestamped and everything, so there are tons of resources out there. You can find all of us pretty much in one of these Discords. Buttcord, yes!
Oh,
you did it again!
Yeah!
But feel free to reach out, hit any of us up for questions if you have any whatsoever. Probably do another one or two of these streams before the tournament, so get your questions in. Alright, let's see if we can find someone to host.